Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Podcast Studio. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Karen. It's really great to have you with us for our very first episode. We're quite excited, aren't we?
Definitely. Today, we're tackling a topic that, well, let's be honest, many professionals find challenging: how to handle difficult questions in meetings.
Oh, absolutely. We all know that feeling, don't we? You're in a meeting, maybe you're concentrating hard on speaking English, and suddenly, boom, a tricky question comes your way. And your mind just, poof, goes blank.
Exactly. It can feel pretty stressful, you know? But hey, don't worry. In this episode, we're going to share some really practical strategies and useful phrases. The idea is to help you stay calm, figure out the question, and answer confidently, even when you feel sort of put on the spot.
Hmm. We want you to leave this episode feeling more prepared and maybe a bit less anxious about those moments. We'll keep the language clear and focus on things you can actually use. It should be perfect for learners around the B1 to B2 English levels.
So, Karen, thinking about it, why do you reckon answering difficult questions feels extra tough when you're communicating in a second language?
Well, Kevin, I think there are a few things going on, aren't there? Firstly, you've got the general pressure of the meeting itself. Then, you're trying hard to understand the question perfectly. Maybe there's some unfamiliar vocabulary, or the person is speaking really fast. It's not just words. Sometimes it's complex ideas wrapped up in there.
Right. And on top of that, you're simultaneously thinking about how to structure your answer in English, finding the right grammar, the right words, all while trying to sound professional and, confident. It's like you need to produce clear, connected speech, often about stuff that might be quite technical or abstract.
Exactly. It's like juggling maybe 5 balls at once. And sometimes, this is interesting too, there might be cultural differences in how people communicate. Some styles are very direct, others, well, not so much. That can add another layer when you're trying to understand or answer. Making assumptions can definitely lead to a bit of confusion.
That's a really great point. So, I guess the goal isn't always to have the perfect, super fast answer ready instantly. It's more about having these strategies, these tools to manage the situation calmly and communicate effectively. Even if that means, taking a moment or asking for clarification, it's about interacting in a way that works, making that interaction possible, even if it's not absolutely flawless every single time.
Okay, so let's dive into our first strategy then. Kevin, what's the absolute first thing someone should do when they get hit with a tricky question?
Okay, first thing, don't panic. And definitely don't feel you have to blurt something out immediately. Often, the best first step is just to pause, take a breath. It gives your brain a second to catch up, and it actually makes you look more thoughtful, like you're really considering the question.
Hmm, that's so true. That little bit of silence can be powerful. And often, let's face it, the question itself might not be crystal clear. Maybe you didn't quite hear it, or you're unsure about a particular word, or maybe it was just phrased in a confusing way. You know, full of jargon or something.
Exactly. So, and this is key, don't ever be afraid to ask for clarification. Honestly, it's so much better than guessing and ending up answering a question they didn't even ask. You've got to make sure you're on the same page before you jump in. Asking shows you're paying attention and you care about giving a good, accurate answer.
Absolutely. And there are some really simple, polite ways to do this. For instance, if you just didn't hear it properly, sorry, could you say that again, please? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat the question? I'm afraid I missed the last part there. Could you just repeat that bit again?
Yeah, or if you heard the words but the meaning isn't quite clicking, I'm not sure I fully understand. Could you perhaps explain that in another way? Or could you rephrase that for me? Could you clarify what you mean by mention the specific word or phrase? Like, could you clarify what you mean by synergistic outcomes? Okay, just so I'm sure I understand correctly, are you asking if say what you think they asked? That's, paraphrasing, right?
Yes, paraphrasing. That last one is super helpful. It shows you were really listening and helps you double check you've got the right end of the stick before you launch into your answer. It turns that moment of uncertainty into a quick confirmation.
Let's try a quick role play. Karen, ask me a slightly complicated or unclear question. Maybe about, project budgets?
All right. Kevin, regarding the Q3 budget allocation, could you outline the potential ROI variance based on the revised synergistic forecast model?
Hmm. Okay, thanks, Karen. That's quite specific. Let me just check I've got that right. Are you asking how the potential return on investment might change now that we've updated the sales forecast for the third quarter?
Yes, precisely. That's what I was getting at.
Great. See? Just taking that moment to clarify makes everything less ambiguous. It's good communication, definitely not a sign of weakness.
Right then. So, you've paused, you've clarified, you understand the question. Now, you actually have to answer it. Sometimes, even if you know the answer, the pressure can make it hard to get your thoughts in order, can't it? Especially trying to structure it well in English.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And just rambling, trying to give a really long, complicated answer when you're feeling stressed, that often just leads to more confusion, or maybe some grammatical slip ups. So, our next strategy is all about using a simple structure. Keeping things clear and concise is often the best approach, particularly for, that B1 to B2 level where fluency is developing, but complex sentences might still be tricky.
Hmm, a simple framework can be a lifesaver. A really useful one, and we've simplified it a bit here, is called PREP. P-R-E-P. It stands for point. Your main answer or opinion, get straight to it. Reason, why you think that. Give your main justification. Example, a specific example, maybe some data or a short story to back it up. Point, and then just briefly repeat your main point to wrap it up. It just helps you organize your thoughts on the fly.
Let's make that even more practical with some easy sentence starters. For your first point, you could kick off with, well, I think. In my view, the key thing here is, my perspective on this is,
Then, for the reason, that's because. The main reason is, that's largely due to the fact that.
for the example. For example. For instance, just to give you an example. A good illustration of this is,
And then finally, circling back to repeat the point. So that's essentially why I think. Therefore, overall, the main point is. So, yeah, to sum up, my view is.
let's try a quick example. Imagine the question is, should we focus more on improving customer service? Using PREP, a simple answer might sound like this. P, yes, absolutely. I think improving customer service should be a top priority right now. R, the main reason is that we're seeing more negative feedback online lately, especially about response times. E, for instance, just last week I saw 3 comments on our social media page about customers waiting over 48 hours for a reply. P, so yeah, that's why I really believe focusing on customer service is crucial for us at the moment.
It's neat, isn't it? That structure just helps keep the answer tidy, logical, and to the point. You don't need to worry about crafting incredibly long sentences. Just follow the PREP steps. It gives you a kind of safety net, so you can focus on getting your vocabulary and grammar right without the added stress of, how do I organize this? It definitely builds confidence.
Okay, so we've got clarify and structure. But Karen, let's talk about the one everyone really worries about. What happens when you just plain don't know the answer? That can feel extra awkward in a second language.
Ah, yes, the classic I don't know moment. Honestly, Kevin, it happens to everyone. Even experts in their field get caught out sometimes. The absolute most important thing here is don't pretend and please don't make something up. Being honest is so important for keeping trust.
Couldn't agree more. Trying to bluff your way through it, it rarely works and can really damage your credibility if you're found out. It's always better to be honest, but, politely honest. It shows integrity.
Exactly. You can acknowledge it's a good question, admit you don't have that specific piece of information right now, and, crucially, offer to follow up. Here are a few phrases that work well. That's a really relevant question. I don't actually have that specific data with me at the moment, but I can certainly find out and get back to you. Good point? To give you a precise answer, I'd need to check a couple of things first. Would it be okay if I follow up with you by email later today? Or maybe tomorrow morning? Being specific about the follow-up helps. I think Sarah in marketing might be the best person to answer that, as it falls more into her area. I don't have the details myself, but I'd be happy to connect you with her after the meeting if you like. Only if this is genuinely true and helpful.
Yeah, that offer to follow up is so important, isn't it? It shows you're not just dismissing the question. You're taking responsibility for getting the answer, even if you don't have it right there and then. It nicely changes, "I don't know" into "I'll find out for you."
And sometimes the question might be asking for a decision that's, well, above your pay grade, so to speak. If you don't have the authority, you can say something like, "That's quite a significant decision. I wouldn't be able to approve that myself, but I can definitely take it to my manager to discuss, and I'll let you know the outcome."
So the big message here is honesty is professional. Saying "I don't know, but I'll find out" is actually a very confident and responsible way to handle things. It builds far more trust than trying to wing it. Okay, those are three really solid practical strategies. 1, pause and clarify. 2, use a simple structure like prep. And 3, handle those "I don't know" moments honestly and offer to follow up.
Hopefully, these tips are feeling useful for building your confidence in meetings. And listen, if you are finding this helpful and you'd like more practical English advice tailored for your career, why not just take a quick second right now and hit that subscribe button below?
Yeah, it really helps you stay in the loop with our new episodes. We'll be here every week, aiming to help B1 to B2 learners like you. Plus, it gives us a little boost and helps support the channel so we can keep making this content.
It just takes a click. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, shall we do a super quick recap of those key phrases before we finish up?
Right, quick recap. Main strategies for difficult questions. 1, pause and clarify if needed. Use things like, "Could you repeat that, so?" Or "What exactly do you mean by?" Understanding is step 1. 2, use a simple structure. Prep is great. Point, reason, example, point, keeps it clear. 3, don't know? Be honest. Say, "I'm not sure right now, but I'll find out and get back to you." Offer that follow-up.
And maybe just one final thought. It's about your mindset, isn't it? How you view the questions. Try not to see them as a test or, worse, an attack. Think of them as, well, an opportunity.
An opportunity? Interesting. An opportunity for what?
Well, an opportunity to show you're listening, maybe to clarify something important for everyone, or even just to connect with the person asking. Often, someone asking a question is just genuinely trying to understand better or add to the discussion. If you can shift your thinking from feeling defensive to feeling curious, it can make a huge difference to how much pressure you feel.
That's a really insightful way to put it, Karen. Shift from defensive to curious. I like that. And hey, to help everyone remember those useful phrases we covered, we've put them in a little summary table. You should be able to find it in the description box below this video, or maybe we can flash it up on the screen right about now.